Yeah! Yeah! In the warehouse gym, we break the mold. We lift iron weights like they're made of gold. Nick and Will on the podcast vibe, talking about routines, yeah, feeling so alive. Sweat drips down as the bass line hits. Warehouse echo with the power of grit. Guys night podcast with the knowledge to share. Training tips, yeah, we're taking it there. Warehouse hustle, lifted higher. Iron clashing with hearts of fire. Nick and Will, they got the plan. Training like we Superman.
Hey, what's going on? Yeah, we're live. Live? Cool. Yeah. Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Will, Nick. We're here live tonight. First out to the warehouse on Guys Night. Tonight, we're going to talk reps. What kind of reps you need to be doing based on what you're trying to accomplish. And Nick, you and I have talked about this a lot. It's not just about more reps equals tone. It's not that less reps just equals full. There's a lot in between, right? So yeah, share with me, the different kind of sets that you can be doing, and what the kind of benefit of all of them are, and some key points.
Yeah. So really, we're going to focus on failure reps, right? So, in order to talk about that, you got to really understand and define failure. So, what is failure? So, for those guys who are lifting or maybe experience haven't really truly been to failure. Failure is when you no longer can lift up the weight. So you're going to do a bench press and you cannot get the next rep. That is a failure. That should be a goal on every working set, is to get to failure. Now, when real progress is made is after failure. So those reps that you force through after your body reaches that failure. So there's a couple different ways to go about it. I think I have my little notes here, so I don't forget one. I want to do it in a certain order too. So force reps. That's basically where you are forcing the rep up, even though you physically can't lift it. So this is one that you do with a spotter, where a spotter will take and help you pull that weight off your chest. Just assuming the bench press, just assuming, or just enough to pull that weight and keep the bar moving. So lightens the load a little bit, but allows you to get 2, 3, 4 extra reps.
So when I let me ask you this though, and guys, if you're listening, if you could just hit like, share, comment, something so we know that you guys can hear us. Hopefully the sound's coming through a lot better tonight. But so let me ask you this: for force reps, let's say you're doing something like, I don't know, bicep curls, tricep extensions, something like that. Can you use your own arm if you're by yourself to kind of just at least give it that extra nudge? Is that sure? Are you going to get the same out of it? Sure. Yeah, you can. Once you get that failure point, if you want to spot yourself, you're able to spot yourself. That's good. That's fine. So the key when you are doing a force rep is to not compromise your form, not compromise your posture. All those things that we kind of went over last week, the back, you want to make sure that your posture is good, your form's good, and you're still hitting the muscle that you're intending to hit. What I see mistakes that happens a lot of times is maybe someone's trying to do a force rep on a bench press, right? And then their butt starts to come up off the bench. Yeah. That's not good. Now you're compensating using other muscle groups in order to push that through, which can cause injury. So we don't want to get hurt. We want to make sure we're still only using the muscle that we're intending to use. So, with force reps, that's definitely important. Fair enough.
Along with force reps, you'll have what's called partial reps. So that's exactly how it sounds. A rep where I can't go all the way up now, so I'm going to go as far as I can go and then back down. So we keep using the bench press all the way through. As an example, you come down to the chest, maybe you can't lock out anymore, right? You just don't have the strength anymore. You're burnt out. Okay, we're going to hold as far as we can at the farthest point that we can. We're going to come back down. We're going to hold as far as we can at the farthest point we can and come back down. So those are going to be partial reps. Supersets. So supersets are combining two different exercises. So maybe you're doing an incline bench press and a fly. Okay, so you're doing incline bench press and a fly together. And as soon as you're done with your working set on the bench, you're gonna grab those dumbbells and you're gonna pick them up and you're gonna start flying. It's a different movement, but it's actually the same muscle. So a lot of that muscle will go past that athlete. drop set. Maybe you start on a bench press with 315 and you take a plate off, you take a plate off, you take a plate off, and you fail. That's called a drop set. So you're dropping the weight as failure is achieved. And I like saying it like that, achieving failure. Think of that in your mind. That's all Tom Black quote. You should, failure is a good thing. Once you achieve that, and some people get like, oh, I failed this set. That's not bad at all. It's the whole point, exhausting muscle completely. Rest pauses, that's where you're going to rack the weight. When you hit failure, you rack your weight, you pick it up, you go again. Okay, you rack the weight for 5 seconds, you pick it up, you go again. That's a rest pause. The last one is negative. So that's the eccentric movement of your lift. So you come up for a full rep, and or whatever you have, you might have a partner that's spotted you all the way up, and then you just control that weight all the way down. And then they pull it back up, help you assist you to get that rep, and then you control the weight all the way down the eccentric movement. So, those are the basic failure techniques that I was going to go over today, and help teach you guys so you can get the most out of all your workouts.
Now, let me ask you this, dude. Obviously, there's something you're trying to accomplish with all these different ones. And it's total muscle failure. It's completely exhausting the muscle, right? Sure. So that the rebuild gets stronger, et cetera. Mm-hmm. Are any of these better for certain athletes, depending on what they're trying to accomplish? Let's say I'm a football player and I need power and quickness, or if I'm a basketball player and I need agility and things like that. Like, or if I'm a power lifter and I'm trying to get bulk, or if I'm, all these different things that we're trying to accomplish with our bodies. Do all these different workouts play a part in that? So, or is it more about the exercise and the weights at that point?
So you'll see failure exercises being utilized in just about every sport. I'll give you an example of a runner, right? A runner that is training for a marathon or sprint or whatever, and they basically ever see where they fall down basically after they cross the finish line. Completely exhausted. That's a failure. That's a failure that is maybe a marathon, which is, whatever, 20 But with a power lifter, those are failure sets where they, maybe they don't achieve the whole lift, or maybe they don't break parallel, or whatever they have to do. They're pushing a one rep max failure set. So there is some interesting science out there that the body doesn't really know the difference between failure at 1 rep and failure at 50. I believe that to be true. I think that failure is failure, whether you're doing at 4, 3, 4, 5 reps, or you're doing at 15 or 20 reps. But the difference, I think, that comes as far as from a bodybuilding standpoint is density is created with weight. So the heavier weight you have, the more dense muscle you're going to create. You won't create hypertrophy the whole way through, but density is created with weight, and then the higher rep ranges will create mass, if that makes sense.
Now, you mentioned hypertrophy?
Hypertrophy?
Yeah, hypertrophy.
Yep.
And I hear a lot of bodybuilders use that language when they're talking about it. Dan was just in the show, and he was talking about different sciences around that. So what is that exactly for anybody that's listening, including myself?
So hypertrophy is basically the process your muscle goes through where it breaks down the fibers. So when you grow a muscle, it basically splits your fibers, and those fibers grow and become bigger. So that's hypertrophy in a nutshell. So you want to maximize the hypertrophy. You want to split as many of those muscle fibers as you can for it to create maximum muscle breakdown in order to grow the muscle to its full potential.
I got you. All right, so then back to my original question. You mentioned certain things will build denser muscle. But between these different sets, other than trying to get that complete structure in the muscle, are either of them going to be more beneficial for me at all versus one thing or the other?
I would say if you're a powerlifter and your end goal is to be as strong as possible, the lower rep range failure is going to be a better way. If you are a bodybuilder and you want to be more balanced as far as the physique goes, and strength is your number one goal, I would say that a moderate to higher rep range is going to be much better for achieving your goal. The way that I look at failure for a powerlifter is in order to achieve a 1 rep max failure, which is your goal at any meet, or if you're a strongman, you have to be able to be comfortable holding or moving heavy weight. And if you're always using lighter weights, then it's going to be a problem to achieve that goal. Whereas like a bodybuilder, we don't really care how much we pick up or put down. It's all about how we look in the mirror and our aesthetics. So a moderate to higher rep range is more effective to hit that.
And doing that. Yeah, that's it. And then for overall strength, lower reps, more for strength, pure strength, you're saying?
Yeah, how powerlifters like to train is they'll do like set to 5x5, 5 sets of 3, and really heavy weight. From a bodybuilding standpoint, the risk reward is just not there for us for that.
Sure.
The heavier weight you go, the more liability you have to be injured.
Yeah.
But you need to have enough weight to fully contract the muscle. So that's where we try to find that balance. So it's somewhere in between where, okay, we need to go heavy enough to contract the muscle to full capability, but we also don't want to overload the muscle to the point where we are going to be using hinging movements, using muscles that we're not trying to use in order to get that weight up. So,
okay. Now, are you doing different things based off of the muscle group, or are you kind of doing these same types of drop sets and doing all these different things between all your muscle groups, different exercises?
So these can really be applied to your training tomorrow at for any muscle group. So we're going to demonstrate with chest today, but you can chest and maybe we'll do a little bit shoulder. You can apply it to legs, you can apply it to back, you can apply it to arms, any muscle group that you want to train. The failure techniques can be applied to. It's just in different ways. So I would say that not one technique is better for one muscle group or the other. I would say it's kind of person to person dependent. Whatever failure technique that allows you to go the farthest past failure is the one that you should be using on a regular basis.
Gotcha. And then real quick, just to touch on something a little off subject, but based on my workout, how am I eating around these workouts? If I'm going to failure, am I eating right before? Am I eating an hour before? Eating immediately after? So
that's really person dependent, like obviously I'm giving you digestion and stuff. But for what a general rule of thumb for me is I like to eat about an hour to hour and a half before my training, and I like to have an intra workout drink to be able to sip on during my workout, which is going to be have some carbs powder, some carbon powder in it. Probably have a hydration supplement in it, maybe some glycerol, maybe some creatine to help push that water into the muscle, to help me get a good pump, and it will also allow me to keep my glycogen storage high during my workout. As I start to burn through my stored muscle energy, I'll be able to continue to replenish that to go to get the maximum output on my exercise and movement.
And then after a workout, total exhaustion, are you loading back up? Does it depend on the time of day?
So they have what's called the metabolic window, which I think is like 2 hours. I don't quote me on that, but I think it's like 2 hours post-workout is your metabolic window where you can, if you eat, you're supposedly supposed to metabolize that food a lot easier. That's also a person-to-person thing. I actually prefer not to eat right after workout typically, especially like a hard leg day or something. My stomach is just pretty turned over from, pushing myself as hard as I can. So I usually give myself about 15, 20 minutes to just kind of settle down and relax for a minute, and then I warm a meal up and eat. But usually, the big thing about eating post-workout relatively quickly is if you've eaten an hour before you train, and then you train for an hour and a half, and then you wait another half hour, that's almost 3 hours since you've eaten your last meal. So meal frequency is important. So you want to make sure you're getting all your meals in on time. So eating relatively quickly really depends on how soon you ate before your workout to be able to. So you want to space your meals out 2 to 3 hours throughout the day. So
it sounds like the diet's actually harder than the workout.
Yeah, the diet is, and it's tough because it's so person-to-person dependent. That's where like individual coaching plans come in handy, where you can look at a person and say, okay, I might have a client like a son of steel that loves to eat right after a leg day. Like I know guys that will train. My one training partner, Steve, he's an IPD Pro Classic guy. He can't get the food in his mouth fast enough after a leg day. I'm like, bro, I need like a half hour. I'm a slow eater. I just want to relax and see my food and eat it. He wolfs it down. I'm like, well, but his stomach can handle that. He can handle that. It's work for him. So at the end of the day, the timing is super important. But I would say the intra workout phase is going to be the key to keeping you fueled through that work.
Makes sense. All right, so we're going to demonstrate a couple of things, and this is a full workout. We couldn't find out a demonstrator. So, by the way, if anybody's at the gym around 8:30 on a Thursday night, I think it might be when we end up starting to do this. If it's not Thursday, it's Wednesday. But with the holidays, it'll definitely be Thursday for at least the next couple of weeks. But if you want to come on the show, you want to be part of the action, get in here and get a workout, get pushed on something.
Get for the free things.
Yeah, absolutely. Please don't hesitate. For you guys looking for a coach out there, and it's available as well. So you say you got a couple more spots available.
Yeah.
So awesome. All right, well, I'm going to switch the cameras. Hopefully, those that are listening, we're coming through okay. I'm not seeing a whole lot of comments right now. So
If we had anything from last week that we had to go over, any housekeeping from any questions that we got last week or anything like that?
I don't think so, but let's see what comes up, and then we'll try to put information. Sure. All right, so let's add the other camera to the stage. Oh, our audio was removed during that. Shit. I screwed up big time on that. Hey guys, sorry about that. I just realized the audio got pulled when we switched the cameras there. So you guys probably heard zero of all that valuable content. I'm gonna try and refine it and get it back edited. But let's recap on the steps that we did do. Let's talk real quick about what we were doing since there was no here on that, right?
So that's easy. So basically, we went over all the failure techniques. And kind of to see, we'll do. I'm sure he'll match that up for us, no problem. So we started with force reps, right? So we're doing reps where he's reaching failure, and I'm pushing that weight just enough to keep it moving, right? We did partial reps. So same concept. We reach failure. Maybe we do 10 reps and we're starting to fail. Now we're going to shorten our range of motion. So instead of coming all the way out, we're going to come halfway up, a quarter of the way up. However much we can move that, hold that rep. We did supersets. That's where you're going to do one exercise straight into another exercise. So we did shoulder raises straight into side lateral raises. So we did rest pauses. That's where you pick up the weight, you do a set of 10, you rest, you do a set of 6, you rest, you do a set of 4, you rest, you do a set of 2, you rest.
And those reps were what we did, 10 seconds.
Yeah, you could play with the numbers. You could do 4 sets of 4 if you want. You can do, I like to do a negative progression when it comes to that. But you do 4 sets of 4. Ideally, you want to stick with the same weight. But I did mention that you don't be afraid to adjust your weights as you feel necessary. You know, if you feel like your failure is at 6 and you're going to get 2, strip a little bit off, get in there, go again. You know, that's the whole point. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's a rest pause. So if you take an extra rest and do an extra set, that's basically what you're doing anyway. So, and then negatives. So we're going to go to a failure with maybe a 5-second negative, 5-second eccentric movement, and then we're going to drive up. And we're going to do a 5-second eccentric movement, right? And then once we can't do any more, we're going to have a partner force those reps up, and then we're just going to control that negative for maybe 3, 4, 5 reps afterwards to squeeze as much toothpaste out of the bottle as we can.
Yeah, and just in case, you know, once again, Nick talks about this stuff all the time, so it's second nature, but that eccentric movement is any of that, against the easy part of the setting.
Yeah, that's a good way for easy part.
If you're doing cables and you're extending your arms, that go back is usually easy. That's the part you want to delay that and let it take a little bit longer to get down into, and then slow it again. Fight and let that go. And, you know, that's one where we talked about bottom drops out.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. The first few sets, it's easy, no problem, and then all of a sudden there's nothing there. I apologize, we didn't have sound there for a while, but you know, when Nick was pushing me to do those slow eccentric movements, I felt fine. But kind of like step 6, and then by 7, I had nothing left in the tank. Like, and even right now, I can feel my chest muscles throbbing.
Like a few movements. Yeah. The same machine.
Yeah, right. You know, and my chest is completely ripped right now. And once again, talking about those machines that are here, you know, don't always jump on the same machines. Some of these exercises, if you really want to get the maximum, it's going to be better to jump on a hammer strength, side backs, one of these paramount machines, because you don't have to worry about the bar dropping on your chest. You don't necessarily have to worry about having a spotter. It's something you can kind of do on your own. If you're in the gym at 5 in the morning, nobody else is around, you know. But then again, we also talked about when you need a spotter, especially if you're asking somebody that it's not accustomed to you, doesn't know what you're doing, or even maybe they don't spot people a lot, right? Because you want to make sure you let them know what you're doing. Yeah, and that's a big part of it. Because you know, you think somebody just wants a spot, they hit, you know, let's say on the bench, they put 225 up a couple of times and they start to fail. Always, you see somebody just yank that bar up and rack it. You know, so make sure you're explaining, hey, this is what we want to happen, this is what we're going to have to do. I need you to let me go to failure, or I'm going to fail. I need you to really help lift it up off my chest a couple of times, or wherever the case is.
Yeah, it's your responsibility as a lifter to inform your spotter of what you want, and it's your spot. And if you're a spotter, it's your responsibility to ask the lifter what they need, so that way you guys are on the same page. So if I'm asking Will for a spot, I might say, hey, Will, I'm getting ready to do any kind of bench press. I might shoot for 10 to 12 reps. Now I want to do 3 force reps and 2 negatives. Okay, so now he knows exactly what my rep range is, where I'm going. I might get 10 to 12, I might not, whatever. He knows I'm trying to do 3 force reps and then 2 negatives. So And I might tell him, hey, just keep the bar moving. Don't pull it off myself. Keep it moving. Cool. And then when it gets to the point where he's doing most of the work, or as a spotter, he might say, man, I don't know if I can continue to pull this weight off of his chest. We need to wrap this now because now you're not a safe spotter anymore. So, and vice versa. When you might ask your partner or your spotter, hey, what do you want? Do you need a lift up? You need how many reps are you looking to get? Do you want any? Do you want me to pull the weight, or do you want to force the bar up? Keep the bar moving. So just keep a good line of communication if you're spotting somebody that you don't normally train with or don't know their lifting style.
Yeah. And guys, once again, I apologize. Cut out the audio there when we were actually over there doing sets. We're still getting the hang of this. This is the second time we've done this on site. We're trying to get this audio right. So hopefully, if you do listen to this at all, let us know how did the audio come across. I got to listen back later. But if there's any tips that you have, if you want to be a part of this, hey, just comment, hey, I want to join in next week. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook. You can find Nick on Instagram at beef_cape19.
Yeah, beefcake_19.
Beefcake_19. You can look up Guys Night Podcast. You can even reach out to the guys here at Warehouse. They'll get you connected to one of us if you want to join up. And I'll try and have that schedule up so you know what's going on. And we appreciate you guys, those that tuned in. Once again, sorry about some of the audio there when we were out doing the workout. We're trying to have voice over to that later. But hopefully you get some value out of this. And if there's something you want us to touch on, let us know. And we'll do the best that we can to get the information. Nick's a book of knowledge when it comes to this. You can see him. I mean, sitting next to him, I feel small, even though I got the pump going right now.
Yeah, do some more of them. Wait till you try that legs.
Yeah,
that's when the real matter matters.
Well, I'll tell you what, that pause.
Yeah.
Brandon did that to me on Sunday when we did it on a leg extension.
Yeah, we were holding at the top.
Yeah, and he's like, he's got his foot like, no, he had me like at the rest position.
Oh, okay.
He's holding it down all the way back.
Yeah.
And man, I tell you what, you get to that 4 and 2 sets, like it's man's game for sure.
That's right. What are you made of? I know that coach always said to me, like when I'm trying to get into the nitty gritty of a tough set, what are you made of? What kind of man are you right now?
Yeah,
it gets in your head, and go sometimes, like I said a little earlier, you gotta get comfortable being uncomfortable. So whatever you gotta do in your mind to get past that uncomfortableness, that pain that it takes to get when you start failing, do that. Some guys, they just kind of like think about something else. I'm gonna think about baseball, or something like that. Just get out of it. Other guys might think of something horrible, like, oh, my family's gonna burn the building. If I don't get 10 reps, then they all die. You know what I mean?
Yeah, whatever it takes to kind of push you.
Yeah, whatever it takes in your head to get past those reps, do it. Everybody has their own techniques, but find your way to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Sounds like a plan, man. All right, guys. Hey, those of you tuned in, thank you very much. Those of you liked, shared the stream, commented. Hopefully we'll get a few more comments in the future. But if you like what we're doing, let us know. If you don't like what we're doing, make sure you comment. Let us know that too.
Yeah, all right. We'll fix it. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, guys. Have a good night.
Thanks.
Yeah! In the warehouse gym, we break the mold. We lift iron weights like they're made of gold. Nick and Will on the podcast vibe, talking about routines, yeah, feeling so alive. Sweat drips down as the baseline hits. Warehouse echo with the power of grit. Guys Night Podcast with the knowledge to share. Training tips, yeah, we're taking it there. Warehouse hustle, lifting higher. Iron clashing with hearts of fire. Nick and Will, they got the plan. Training like we Superman.